Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of the Western Caucus Chairman's Chat. I'm Chairman Dan Newhouse. I'm delighted today to have my guest, Congressman Tiffany from the great state of Wisconsin, I believe the 7th District, northern Wisconsin. Tom is the chairman of the Subcommittee on Natural Resources of Federal Lands. And he's also, proud to say, a vice chairman of the Congressional Western Caucus. Welcome, Tom. Thanks for being with me. And tell me a little bit about your subcommittee, some of the things that you've been doing, any accomplishments you've made, and tell us why that's important to the people that are listening.
Mr. Chairman, it's good to join you here today. And yeah, we've been busy on the Federal Land Subcommittee and Natural Resources. Lots of stuff going on. Amongst other things, we did a tour to my home state of Wisconsin, up in northern Wisconsin, where we have a federal forest called the Chequamegon-Nicolet. I won't ask you to spell Chequamegon.
I bet you can.
But it's one of our wonderful national forests that we have. And it's actually one of the more productive national forests in Wisconsin. But I was hearing from a lot of constituents in regards to access issues. And so we had a very good hearing with local people that were sharing their concerns. And as a result of that, just last week, we had Chief Randy Moore from the U.S. Forest Service came out and did the tour with us because he wanted to hear the concerns there. And the heartening thing is that Chief Moore was in agreement on a few things, that maybe there needs to be some changes made. Because our federal lands like this, as you well know, Mr. Chairman, is they're meant for multiple use. There should be multiple use. And that's all our constituents remember that pre-1988, and they would like to have it again.
So that's a perfect segue. I was going to ask you about this administration's efforts to bring forward this 30 by 30 idea, where I think you could explain this 30% of land is going to be protected by the year 2030. What does that mean for access? What does that mean to your constituents, to my constituents, when it comes to federal land?
Yeah, it's what they're saying is they want to federally protect 30% of the land by 2030. Well, if you look at lands that are encumbered by federal, state, and local governments, we're well over 30% already. So what does that mean? That means they want to shut down access to even more lands across America. And so not only does that harm the producers, whether you're a farmer or a rancher, you're producing natural resources that allow our country to prosper, whether it's oil and gas exploration, you name it, with all that stuff. But it also harms people in the recreation industries. And as someone who owned a dinner and excursion boat for 20 years, and know a little bit about public lands and people coming out to recreate, this is actually going to harm those people that want to recreate here in America also by shutting it down.
Access. You know, one of the very first meetings I had as a newly elected member of Congress, people were coming to me asking for increased access to federal land. So this is an issue in my state for sure as well. So, Congressman Tiffany, over this last summer, actually over the last several summers, I live in Central Washington, the Yakima Valley, and we have been covering for several months now, it seems, the smoke from forest fires. And that points to the issue of federal lands management, forest management. This touches, I think this is an issue you cover in your subcommittee, I'm guessing. Talk to us a little bit about what you see as the direction we should go with federal forest land management.
Really one of the biggest issues. So we get plenty of precipitation in Wisconsin normally, so we don't have the same problem the western states have. But boy, I've sure found out what a problem this is, this lack of proper management. And by the way, we were talking earlier, there's a big difference, isn't there, between protection and management.
Right.
And that's all people are asking for, is good management of these lands. But we're looking at a very high wildfire season once again this year. The data I saw last week when we did the tour with Chief Moore, I was hearing that there's 6.4 million acres that have burned once again in America. And over the last decade, as you're well aware, I mean, we've had record amounts of acreage that have been burned out across America, and it is not benefiting the multiple use mode that we would like to use here in America. And the frustrating thing about it is it does not have to be. It does not have to be this way. We could control these fires. There's certainly going to be some fire. We know that. But with the technology that we have these days, we can identify where those hot spots are. We can treat them quickly and make sure that people's livelihoods and homes are not harmed as a result. There is no reason in this modern era, with some of the technology that I've seen in touring some of the places out in the western states, there's no reason for us to have these massive wildfires as continue to happen.
You know, interestingly, I flew from Yakima to Seattle yesterday morning at 5 a.m. You could see the flames from forest fires.
Yeah, and so it even affects us in Wisconsin. So we're seeing the smoke coming to through Central America, and so it makes for brilliant sunsets, but it's not particularly good for the environment. And for those people that claim to be concerned about the environment, but then allow this to happen when it does not have to, their words ring hollow.
So Tom, Congressman Tiffany, it really makes me feel good that we have someone in this position that you serve that truly has the best interests of rural America at heart. So as chairman of this important subcommittee of natural resources, tell us just a little bit about maybe some of your things you'd like to be doing, future plans.
So there's a number, what we just talked about in regards to wildfire, I think that's one of the chief challenges that are before us. And it all goes back to proper management. We get back to proper management on our forest, and we're going to be just fine. A colleague of ours, Representative McClintock, has a very good bill to expand categorical exclusions. To be able to allow more land to be able to be reviewed without having to go through this onerous process with NEPA. And there are times that this could really benefit us and eliminate some of these hazards that are out there, or be able to deal with them in a timely fashion so they don't become a disaster. Another thing that I'd like to see happen, and we've used it in Wisconsin, is the expansion of Good Neighbor Authority. And allowing more state and local control, allowing more state and local management, because those people that are on the ground, they know best oftentimes. And sometimes the federal people, they need some help. And I know, certainly in my state, and I think it's true across the country, these state managers, as well as like in our state, we have large county forests. Those county forests are managed very well. Those people at the state and county level, they're ready to help.
Yeah, very good. Well, I appreciate that. And our listeners appreciate hearing that as well, because everybody recognizes that we can do better.
We can do better.
So thank you. Congressman Tom Tiffany from Wisconsin's 7th District, thank you for being with me on this edition of the Western Caucus Chairman's Chat. And I hope you will join us again for our next Western Caucus Chairman's Chat. Thanks.